Yipee-Ki-Yay, Mr. Falcon.
I think I sent you this a few days ago, Tom. But there's a really cool multi-part documentary on the making of the original RoboCop on Amazon.
Yes, I need to watch that.
It's really neat. I really hope this catches on because I would love to. Like, they go so deep into the cool shit that you want to know about. That I'd never seen anything like this before, and on a movie like RoboCop, because I mean it's everything from the story, from the casting, from how they made the fucking suit, how they did the Murphy death scene, just everything you ever wanted to know. They just go for it, and it's like I think a 3-part thing. It's so cool, dude.
I'll definitely watch that.
That movie almost didn't get made. I'll tell you that. It was a rough production at the beginning, and a lot of it was because Peter Weller's a fucking lunatic. But
oh yeah,
that's okay. Did you ever see him in Naked Lunch, the Burroughs adaptation?
No. I've always wanted to see that, but like I don't know. I just haven't got around to it. I'm familiar with that book.
If you ever want to chase your wife out of the room, put that movie on. It'll do it. When I think of movies your wife wouldn't like, that's like a fucking template right there.
Top of the list.
Yeah, but then she might surprise me. I don't know. But whew, man, that's a hard one to get through. If you can sit through that whole fucking thing, I'm impressed. But back in 1987, he was doing more lucrative fare, I guess you could say, with RoboCop, though he took it way too seriously. So that brings up the question, did you see the remake in 2014?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I saw it.
You actually are a fan of Joel Kinnaman, right?
Yeah, I like Joel Kinnaman.
Okay,
I had no clue who he was until I saw this show called The Killing on AMC. It was like a police procedural. Mm-hmm. And it was really good. And I was like, who is that guy? And then I looked him up. I was like, oh, he's Swedish. And then he just started. He started being everywhere. He was
pretty good in that.
Blew up
in that show. I did see that.
Oh, in Killing? Oh, yeah, he was great.
Yeah. The first time I really took notice of him was in Altered Carbon. He was in the first season of Altered Carbon, the good season. He was pretty good in that. He's not what I would have expected from the book, but they changed a lot of things from the book, but I thought he was really good. And he's been good in other things too, but this was not that remake, man. It couldn't have been the cast, because the cast is incredible. If you look at the names, you look at the lineup.
Yeah, who else is in that?
Fucking Michael Keaton is.
Yeah, that's right. He's the bad guy, right?
Yeah, he's in like the Dick Jones role, but it's not even a fair corollary. Gary Oldman, he's the science dude, the guy who actually makes RoboCop.
Yeah.
And Rorschach, fucking Jackie Earle Haley. He's
that guy's creepy.
Yeah, and he's like 5 feet tall, but he's the special forces expert dude with the exoskeleton suit. It's so stupid. Michael Kenneth Williams is in it. The late
great Michael K. Williams.
Yeah, and he's Lewis. He's Murphy's partner, who's a dude in this one, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And then Jay Baruchel and Samuel L. Jackson is that weird. I guess he's supposed to be a right-wing TV personality of some kind.
Yeah, it's got a hell of a cast.
It has a great cast. I mean, what was wrong with this fucking thing, man? Like,
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Go back to the source material, right?
yeah.
RoboCop 1, good or bad?
Are you asking?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Yeah, it scarred me as a child. I kept watching it, still love it. Yeah.
One of the reasons I really like that movie is because it's goofy as hell. Like the all the RoboCop stuff when he first is like out on the streets, and the whole "your move, creep." It's just it's goofy as hell. It's very tongue in cheek. It doesn't take itself that seriously, and then they go to remake it.
It's all very over the top. Yeah,
and it takes itself way too seriously. And you're like, they're trying to get you to take this thing seriously that was great in the first place because it didn't. I think that's like mistake number one.
Yeah, that's definitely a big thing it did, and it definitely does that for sure. And it also acts like no media has ever explored the idea of a cyborg before.
Yeah, man.
And like the body horror of it, which is neat that they actually did include it in this. But I think the other really big problem was this thing wasn't rated R, the remake.
That's true.
And I mean,
bro, the original's so bloody.
Like, this isn't an adaptation of a comic book or anything. Like, this was made, written, created as an R-rated movie in 1987 that was, it's unique. Like, the original movie is weird, just like Paul Verhoeven is weird, and in the best way possible. The movie looks different and weird for its time, and I found out from that documentary it's because they lit a lot of it with these panels of fluorescent lights that they built. And if you look at that movie, that's what it does look like, and it has this institutional feel,
right?
And the violence is so shocking and exaggerated, and just so amazingly bloody. And Paul Verhoeven said in the documentary, he said the reason they did that, the reason they killed Murphy that way, was that you only had about 15 minutes with Murphy before he became RoboCop, right? And he's like, in those 15 minutes, we had to make the audience care about him as a person enough to carry it through the rest of the movie. So he's like, if I kill him in this horrible, impactful way, that's accomplished. And I'm like, fuck, I guess that worked.
Yeah, Red from that 70s show, like, really just...
Fuck, man. Oh, my God.
They kill the hell out of him.
Man, the uncut version is pretty fucking horror. It's a horror movie.
There's a worse version?
Yeah. Like, there's the theatrical version, and then there's they had to tone it down a bit to get the R rating, and there's an untoned down version that I've seen that I watched unexpectedly. Was not ready for it. First time I showed my wife that movie, and that's the version we watched, and it was pretty fucking gnarly.
So her first time viewing it was the super ultra violent one.
Yeah. My God. You ever want to watch a funny movie cut for television? RoboCop. Okay, but another thing, I guess, like you said, to compare, like we are trying to compare apples to apples here. The new RoboCop had a huge weakness in the fact that the villains were terrible.
Right.
Almost non-existent. Like the only... What?
Remind me. I watched that movie, and I think like I checked out about halfway through. I saw it like not long after it came out, and I haven't watched it since.
That's my point. The villains are so just vanilla. They're not even there. Like Michael Keaton is supposed to be this corporate sleazebag, but they don't give him hardly anything to work with. And the good doctor who creates him is just the static character who never changes through the entire thing. He's not a villain. He's always on RoboCop's side, but he works for the company. So, I mean, OCP is sort of kind of supposed to be still what it is, but it's it's nothing compared to the 80s version one. And then you have Jackie Earle Haley and his never-ending squadron of dudes and robots.
Right.
And it does, to avoid, again, because of the PG-13 rating, it does what I like to call the foot soldier solution. You remember in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon when we were kids? The Foot Clan, right?
Yeah.
They had foot soldiers, hundreds of them.
Yeah.
They were robots.
Yeah.
So that was the solution for when you have four heroes that have weapons that are designed to maim people. One guy's carrying two swords. So you have to give him an army of robots to beat up so that parents aren't freaked out.
You don't feel bad when he hacks off a robot arm.
Yeah, they're stormtroopers from Star Wars. The same deal, right? G.I. Joe did the same thing with all the Cobra. All the Cobra bad guys were all just legions of fucking robots that you didn't feel bad. They got lasered to death. And the only ones with personalities always escaped at the end to fight another day. They did the same fucking thing with RoboCop, of all things, for God's sake, dude. There is literally a part where he just is in a warehouse, pretend fighting a whole bunch of fucking robots, and you're supposed to care about this shit. And of course, at one point, it just all becomes CG, and it's ridiculous. You know, it's nothing for nothing. Like, the original RoboCop was a dude in a plastic suit, but I believed, for the most part, he was doing everything we saw him do. Like, all he did was walk around and shoot stuff. Like, he didn't, he didn't leap around like Spider-Man and shit. I don't know. Like, okay, I guess other than aesthetics, other than ratings, other than all that shit, I guess the question is why the movie is made.
Yeah, who's it for?
Like, the original was actually saying something. Very, very, I don't even know what the fuck you would call it, man. Just ultra-violent way. It was trying to say a bunch of things about consumerism, about corporatization, about privatization of services, about, the grim future. And a lot of the things that it was predicting are kind of came true quite a bit.
Paul Verhoeven was very good at that shit.
Yeah,
he in these unlikely movies like RoboCop, like you to your point, had a lot to say, right? And you wouldn't think that a movie about like an ultra-violent movie about a Robo-Man would have all that much to say. But like another example,
that's the point. Yeah,
you ever see Starship Troopers?
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Read it too. Yeah.
And I'm watching that movie, and it's just on the surface, it seems like just this dumb action movie where they just kill bugs. But like you watch that movie and you hear Paul Verhoeven talk about it, and he's going on and, about like the look and the way that they recruit people. He grew up in like Nazi occupied Europe. I forget where he's from.
Right.
Where's he from? Isn't he Dutch or something?
Stand by. Yeah, I know. He just witnessed the bombing of his home city.
Yeah.
Hold on here.
He grew up in Nazi-occupied Europe, and so you watch Starship Troopers.
I think he's Dutch. Yeah.
Yeah. So you look at that movie, and they look like fucking German soldiers. And he flat out says, like, yeah, that was my inspiration for this group of people. The Germans made the best looking shit, They had a very particular look. It works for the camera, but then you look at the way they act and the way all the propaganda to convince people to join this like ridiculous cause, which you find out at the end is like they know more than they're letting on. And you realize that movie says so much more than you ever thought it could, just being a movie about space bugs. And RoboCop does the same thing.
And the movie is so different from the book, too.
The guy was great.
Starship Troopers is so different.
Verhoeven's
vision, what Verhoeven was saying, it definitely was influenced by his life and his experiences during World War II as a kid. Because while the book is really interesting and has a lot to say and is really often misinterpreted, the movie has, if not the same, it hits a lot of the same notes, but I think it even has more to say. But yeah, it's all very easy. Was very easily written off as a nonsense action movie that didn't do very well.
Yeah, and you could say the same for RoboCop.
Yeah, a lot of people
just write
say
it off as a bloodbath.
a lot of people say that the two movies that adolescent and naive 20-something-year-old men misinterpret the most are Starship Troopers and Fight Club.
Fight Club.
And I don't know if that goes for the books too, because they're a little more difficult to misinterpret. But
right.
yeah. But Verhoeven again in the dawn of the '90s in 1990, only 3 years after RoboCop, he did Total Recall too. Not two. Also, he did Total Recall. I mean,
as well,
and that tonally had a lot of similarities to RoboCop.
Total Recall's great.
Yeah, it's a wild, again, another wild vision. Like it's not reality. Like I don't know how to explain this to people who there's this feeling in cinema lately that everything has to be so realistic in every way. Like, and if it's not, it's nonsense. Like there's a big area between dialogue that doesn't make any logical sense and worlds that are just a little askew, where things are emphasized for a reason, not just at random. I know it's fucking wild, right? But, on the surface, what is that movie about? It's about, going to Mars and fucking going on an adventure, and it's about dream services and some crazy future shit,
Recall.
But like, there's so much about that movie that is so memorable because it's so weird. Like I don't know how to explain it to people that don't get it. But whoever made the remake of that, again in the teens, this was done. RoboCop was remade in 2014. Total Recall got a remake in 2012. Again, with a cast that should have really, really worked. But
yeah, what you got? Colin Farrell, you got Jessica,
who was
Biel.
He was kind of at the height of his powers then. I get like it was sort of after he stopped being like a super mega star, but yeah, he was really big at the time. Bryan Cranston plays Cohagen. Right. We had Kate Beckinsale, Jessica Biel, Bill Nye, like John Cho.
There's one person in that movie. I got sick one day, like a long time ago, and I was just like, I was near death. I was on the couch, I couldn't move, and I watched a bunch of movies. I watched Total Recall. I watched Ray, the Ray Charles movie.
Oh, okay.
You know what? I watched a movie called Devil, about like people stuck in an elevator.
The elevator, the Shyamalan, the M. Night movie.
You know who's in all of the three of those movies back to back? I watched them on like linear TV. Bokeem Woodbine.
Yeah.
You got it, man.
That motherfucker, man. Oh, God. Sometimes I see him pop up in a movie, I'm like, fuck, this is going to suck. Because he has been in a lot of bad movies. Good. Yeah, every once in a while it's good. I kind of like Devil. Did you not like Devil?
Yeah, I enjoyed Devil.
I kind of like
But yeah,
Devil.
they were all three on one right after the other. And yeah, and one of them was Total Recall. And in that movie, he's okay.
He was okay in the Fargo show. I was surprised that I liked him so much in that. But I can't remember really the last thing I liked him in, dude. But he's been in so much shit for so many years. Like, I'm really kind of tired of seeing him. And that way he fucking talks. Like, I can't talk. It's always the same.
Yeah. But anyhow, that movie had a good cast. And I was excited for that remake. I remember hearing that was coming out. I'm like, yo, the remake of Total Recall. I can't wait for this. This is going to be awesome. And then I saw it. Nobody wanted to go see it in the theater. And then this is like back before you could really like look up movie ratings. I don't think Rotten Tomatoes was a thing yet, or like IMDb was like didn't really have that I didn't really know about the rating system, and I just bought it. I found it, and I bought the collector's edition. I watched it, and I was just ready to be blown away. And I was like,
man,
this is dumb."
I'm sorry, dude.
I
Yeah,
was upset. That's why I don't get my hopes up anymore.
it's not good. It's just
not good.
Like I don't know,
Like-
and there's
like
it's
you
so
say.
unspecific. The remake of Total Recall, what makes it bad is so vague. It's just so boring.
Well,
Again,
I mean,
it's a PG-13 movie for what
the
it's
same
worth.
Shit that was wrong with RoboCop. Like it's PG-13, right? Total Recall's violent as hell. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
not
crazy.
quite at like RoboCop levels, but it's up there. It's ridiculous. It's so over the top. They go to a titty bar on Mars, for God's sake.
Three
and
tits.
like,
3 titties.
yeah, man. Yeah, you make me wish I had 3 hands. So
But but again, the
and it
violent
doesn't
shit,
take
you remember
itself
it.
that seriously.
Yeah, like is that scene where the fake Arnold head has that big glowy fucking, like he has that
When
tracer
he's pulling
thing.
the thing out of his nose.
Yeah, it's like embedded in his nasal cavity. He has to use that apparatus to drag it out of his fucking nose. We're supposed to believe that his
in
nose
much
just
the same
stretched
way,
like.
that scene is burned into my brain.
Yeah, you'll never
forever.
forget it. You'll never forget it. Just like when his mask breaks out on the surface and his eyes start
my
bugging out of his
God.
fucking head. Remember that?
Yes, how could I
Yeah,
forget
dude.
that?
Nothing. I cannot remember one goddamn thing about the remake, and I've seen it twice. Like I swear to God, I can't remember anything about it. It's
I remember
so
something.
boring. What?
I remember something.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's more like I remember something that didn't happen. You know what they never do?
What?
They never go to Mars.
Yeah, that was I was not ready for that. I kept waiting for the Mars to happen, and it didn't happen. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what? I get leaning on the memories thing more, but I don't know, dude.
Well, here's another thing.
What?
In the same way that Starship Troopers was based on a really good sci-fi book. I believe that was Robert Heinlein that wrote Starship Troopers. That won the
Heinlein, yeah.
It won the Hugo. It was a great book. Total Recall is based on a Philip K. Dick book called the story was called "We Can Remember It For You Wholesale."
Right.
And again, Paul Verhoeven's vision of what that story became is wildly different from the book. But again, like he turns it into something else that still has a lot to say. Philip K. Dick, as like an author of like head scratching sci-fi, is like I don't think there's anyone better. The guy just like was really good at writing books that made you question the very nature of reality and what does it truly mean to be human? What makes you? How do you define yourself? Really just like, deep questions that plumb the depths of the human psyche in a way that most genres can't touch. He did it with sci-fi, and it was great. And I think Total Recall, the original, explored that. And I think they tried to be deep with it in the remake, and it just fell flat because they were trying to strike this serious tone, and it just didn't work. Whereas in the original, they put all that stuff in front of you and let you kind of like think about those concepts, but they'd also entertained you with all the ridiculous stuff that they threw on screen. They let the audience do the heavy lifting when it came to like the deep concepts, and instead of trying to lean on it and make that their focus.
Like the concepts, you don't need the movie to be literal even for it to introduce concepts that are interesting to think about. And yeah, like it's in the background of the Arnold version, if you want to call it that. The idea that, these memories are just memories, and what happens when it turns out that the person you actually are, you don't really like that dude.
Yeah, like who?
So
you
who
have
are
to
you?
answer
What
the
are
question.
you?
Who is he?
And he chooses to be the person he is at the moment. In the end,
My name is Quaid.
Quaid, and yeah, again, having Arnold be in it makes it that much more over the top, and it's kind of like a comic book in that way. It's this hyper reality that allows you. That's what good science fiction does usually. It uses that as the vehicle that allows you to explore these concepts in a way that a serious drama just it can't do, because a serious drama has to be extremely character motivated. You have to have a lot of character building for the story to matter. But you can't do that while you're also trying to make a shoot 'em up CG fest. You know, like it just doesn't it doesn't gel that way. You kind of have to pick one or the other. And that's the idea, man. Like that's why Marvel movies worked so well, because it's this hyper reality that they then layer real conflicts of emotion on top of. You know, so it lets people explore things that they don't really want to think about, you know, Aunt Jack and Uncle Judy doing in real life and having to deal with, because it's fucking just, you don't want to think about the private lives of people that are like people you know. But it's a detached way to explore things about yourself and about humanity and about the nature of people and what we are, without getting fucking depressed, man, and bogged down in bullshit that it's just bad story. Because, you know, the idea of RoboCop is a little inherently goofy.
Yeah.
But you go ahead and try to make it all fucking, it's just like dead, goddamn blood serious. And it's not even violent to be fun. They're like, what? Where is the fun in this movie? There's no fun. There is no fun to be had in the remake of Total Recall or RoboCop. None. The most
take
fun
themselves
part
so seriously.
Like the most fun part is when you get the nod in Total Recall that you think you're going to get the nod to the original when he's going through the customs checkpoint and
with the mask on.
Yeah, and in the remake, there's a woman with a yellow coat on, and they ask how long she can be there, and she goes 2 weeks. And then you find out he's in a malfunctioning disguise, but a different person. And it's like, what the fuck are you even doing to me, dude?
Yeah,
like that's this movie in a nutshell. It's like it like teases at stuff that was awesome, and then gives you just a pile of shit.
And can I just say, like, I can't utter the phrase 2 weeks in a normal conversation without wanting to reach up and just start going,
and that scene is so fake looking too if you watch it now. Like when the woman's face turns into the dummy. I don't. It's just hilarious. It's awesome. Hilarious to me. The whole thing. And then the head blows up. Makes no sense. Don't care.
Get ready for a surprise. You know how people deep fake stuff?
Sure.
Somebody took that scene and deep faked Arnold's face onto the lady's face so that when the mask comes off, it's just Arnold
it's just
in a
Arnold
wig.
Underneath the thing.
And then the mask comes off and it's Arnold underneath an Arnold mask. It was really stupid, but I laughed.
I like that. I would laugh at that. That's fucking funny. I'm laughing at you talking about it. That's great.
Yeah. But yeah, that scene is like it's like burned in your brain, and then they start, like you say, they start to nod at it, and then they're like, nah, never mind, you don't get it.
Like that's the thing. People who don't understand how violence can be used really well in a movie by people who know what the fuck they're doing. They won't get the original RoboCop at all. But
no.
What we said before there about why they made Murphy's death so awful, every horrible, violent thing that happens in that movie, you fucking remember it, you know? And it's paced and the buildup is right, so it doesn't feel unnatural, but it's like no matter what age you are, you watch that movie for the first time, certain moments are seared in your fucking mind. Despite the fact that some of the effects are a little janky, and the squibs are ridiculous in that movie. God. You want to hear something great?
Bunch of sparklers.
Yeah, you want to hear something great? When the guy gets shot in the boardroom when they're showing off the Ed 209. Yeah. He actually had to come back to do reshoots because Verhoeven said it wasn't bloody enough. So he said he spent another 2 weeks getting shot up.
2 weeks.
Yeah, another 2 weeks, and they couldn't get a bloody effect enough. They couldn't get it right for Paul, and eventually
so they spent 2 whole weeks just like shooting this guy over and over again.
Yeah, when having squibs blow up all over his body. So eventually they figured out that if you get spaghetti squash and they put it in between the layers of the squibs, when it came out, it looked like, I don't know, viscera.
Gore?
Yeah, just ribbons of gore. And that's what, that apparently is what Verhoeven was looking for. That passed muster, and that's what we ended up seeing. And it is wild. It is wild, that scene.
Yeah.
He is just chewed to pieces right in front of you. You don't see that in a war movie. It's fucking crazy. Murphy's death traumatized me as a child. Just fucking traumatized me as a child. But that's why this goofy movie about a robot matters in your mind. That's why you can get into the story and care about what happens to everyone that you're supposed to care about, including the bad guys, because they're great villains. Clarence and his gang, they're like comic book villains. Like this squadron of like ridiculous bad guys, they're fantastic. They each have their own look. Clarence is so over the top, like fucking psychotic, but also that's balanced out by the Dick Jones, who is great in this. Like he's what's that actor's name? I always forget his name. That wonderful character actor, Ronnie Cox, was in Deliverance when he was young.
Oh, yeah.
He's also Cohagen in Total Recall. And he's also the really nice police chief in the Beverly Hills Cop movies. He's the police chief of Beverly Hills. Yeah, Ronnie Cox has been in all kinds of shit.
He's Cohagen.
Yeah. He's Cohagen, and he's Dick Jones. Dick Jones! Dick Jones runs OCP. OCP owns the cops. I'm sorry. All right, so who's a better henchman? Michael Ironsides? Michael Ironside is Richter, or Clarence Boddicker? Kurtwood Smith.
I don't know. I have a soft spot for Michael Ironside. I like Michael Ironside. Yeah, I mean, but Clarence is really good too.
I can't hear his fucking voice without thinking about Splinter Cell. I'll never.
Oh, he was great. I loved.
I'll
those
never
games.
be able to separate. I adore those fucking games, dude. I'm so sad that series died. I haven't played a video game in so long. All right, one more thing that has to be compared that the remake of RoboCop really fucked up. Like we said, Lewis is like just some dude now. It's Michael Kenneth Williams. You have no idea why they cast him. It's a bizarre casting.
And nothing against him. He's great.
Yeah, he's been in great. Loved him in Boardwalk Empire and all kinds of shit. He on The Wire.
Omar coming.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's Omar.
Yeah, that's right.
He stands alone.
That's pretty fucking. Yeah, he was. Yeah. That episode where he gets killed, that was brutal. I'm sorry. The show's really old. I think you should watch it. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry. Nancy Allen played Ann Lewis, who was Murphy's partner, in the original. And man, what a really excellent woman character to come out of the 80s and out of the action scene. Like, she was awesome. She wasn't just like there to be there and to say stupid shit. Like, she saved his ass literally more than once. She can hold her own. Like, she's really fucking cool.
She's capable.
Yeah, like, she's just a badass. She's like what you would have to believe a female cop would have to be like in that world that they give us to look at, that fucked
Where
up
does that
Detroit.
take place? Detroit, yeah.
Yeah, old Detroit. Yeah. And it wasn't filmed in Detroit. I forget where it was filmed, but Detroit didn't look like that yet when they filmed this. But you know, again, it's about tone. It's about tone, and it's about story. but it's also like you have to balance all this shit. You can't go overboard, like you said, with being serious. That you go overboard with that, and then they never seem to pay attention to everything all at once anymore. Who the fuck made that remake? I have to Len Wiseman.
Which one?
Remade
RoboCop?
No, he remade Total Recall.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. The tone of that movie is just like dark, brooding, and just wants you to think. It just wants to be deep and it wants to be serious, and that's what kills it for me. You took something that was so much fun and just made it just dour.
Jesus Christ. The dude who made RoboCop, Jose Padilla, he directed such fare as hold on here. Holy Christ.
Oh, I can't wait.
I'm trying to find something that anyone might know. He did 2 episodes of Narcos, Elite Squad 2, The Enemy Within, Secrets of the Tribe in 2010, something called Garapa. Oh, the original Elite Squad in 2007, that's good. And something called Bus 174.
So how did he get handed RoboCop?
Who the fuck knows, man? I guess we're just ignoring the blatant truth is that it's just a cash grab. They got the name. They figured we'd slap a new suit on it, make it all shiny and CG, and the people who love Marvel movies will come and watch, and the old heads will watch a new RoboCop that they can take their fucking 13-year-old to go see, I guess.
What do you think? Do you think that someone was like behind the scenes, like, I really have this great idea for a RoboCop remake? Or do you think it was more like, hey guys, we got the rights to this studio, which includes all these different IPs. One of them's a RoboCop. Which one can we slap together?
I think they probably been trying to remake this fucking movie since the 90s. I mean, there's always been a RoboCop. There were 2 sequels to the original movie, right? Like, they cashed in on it as much as they possibly could. They had Peter Weller for the second one. They had some other dude in the third one. There was a RoboCop TV show. Do you remember this?
No.
There was a RoboCop TV show in the 90s, and then there were like a whole bunch of RoboCop TV movies. There's people who are really, really into this. And there's a whole comic book world, too, built up around RoboCop. Again, none of all this came from the original movie. There's no source material. So there's always been an active RoboCop property. Yeah, I think they just were kind of biding their time and waiting for, A, everything to line up right, which is a lot of shit to get a movie made, and B, for it to be long enough, for a remake to be viable after all the other shit had stopped, after the show ended, and that's the problem with a remake like this. You need old fans to want to see it and like it, while also appealing to younger fans. And I don't know that you can do that with anything, I mean,
right.
Even shitty sequels. How many shitty sequels are there like that try to do that by adding a younger character? Or, I don't know, fucking Indiana Jones springs to mind immediately, but there's a lot. It never works. It's like you can't. RoboCop doesn't work in anyone's hands other than Verhoeven's as a movie. I don't think.
It's too goofy.
It's
he
also
did really well with things that that seemed like they should never work, and that were like too goofy to have anyone take seriously. But like that was his whole shtick.
And 1987 was a different place in technology, where you could buy a lot of that shit with just glossing over it, right? But you can't do that if you set it in. This is kind of like a near future. It doesn't even fucking matter. It's so stupid. Like, just the idea of remaking this movie is stupid. Unless you, I don't know, maybe, no, I don't know. The only reason I could possibly see is just to make it look better. But you lose all those original performances. Like, what do you gain from a remade version of RoboCop except making it shitty? Nothing. It's like remaking Die Hard. Like, who the fuck would want to remake Die Hard? Is there something wrong with how it was filmed and the fact that I don't know. People say that younger viewers have no attention span and they have to start making movies different so that they can watch them. Maybe it's true.
If that's the case, make a different movie.
Yeah. They're not going to be wanting to watch this no matter what.
Don't fuck up an old one.
Yeah, I truly... There's just some things that shouldn't be fucked with. Like, you don't need to touch them, and every time you do, it's just going to be shit. Because nobody who makes these things knows why the original worked. And even if you do, you can't do it again sometimes.
Yeah. There's so many moving parts, and you're going to try... Even if you do know what worked about it, you're going to try to recreate all of the moving parts that made it work. Yeah, it's a monumental task.
You might as well, like, I don't know, try something new. Maybe make a new story about a fucking cyborg. You could probably come up with a new story about a cyborg cop and not call it fucking RoboCop, man. It could probably be done, I think, but no.
Robot Cop.
Yeah. GoBot Cop. Fucking Transformers, Jesus Christ. And can I also say I fucking hate the fact that you can see Joel Kinnaman's face almost the entire goddamn movie.
What do you mean?
The visor goes up and down.
Oh, that's right. Right.
It doesn't even come down until he's like in battle mode. That. Yeah. In the original, he had to like unscrew 5-inch bolts out of the side of his head to take that helmet off.
Yeah, and then it made the voice when he was comply with my orders. It made it more. It made it work better to hear him talk like that when you couldn't see his eyes. This the idea that it reinforced the idea that he was a robot. But then like Joel Kinnaman, you can see his whole face, and you want him to act like a man because you could see his man face, and then he didn't, and it just like it. As ridiculous as the concept is, it still took you out of it.
Yeah, like he didn't even really change his voice that much for even a lot of it until he's, I don't know, at one point they change his programming and make him more robot-y, and his visor's down all the time and he talks more robotic and shit, but it's just a miss. Like everything is a miss. The whole thing. The stupid laser guns, the taser guns, the lack of violence, the fucking unmemorable plot, the terrible villains, the fucking thing with his wife. Like, I'm exhausted just thinking about it. I'd rather just watch the original. I don't know. Does the original look goofy? You're going to have to report back when your kids are old enough to watch RoboCop. And
oh, God, it's going to be a while, dude.
Oh, that's right. You're like a good parent and shit. Never mind.
Dude, it's going to be years before my kids even know RoboCop exists. I mean, unless, like the remakes PG-13, right? So maybe they can watch that.
Never mind. I got to find somebody. I got to find someone young, and I got to know if... RoboCop is just unwatchable now.
I am not young, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
The original?
Maybe for professional research purposes, we should get together and watch RoboCop and Total Recall back to back.
It's just a Verhoeven fest, huh?
Yeah, man.
Verhoeven fest. That sounds like a holiday. That sounds like something.
I'm into it.
Oh, wow. You know what I liked about RoboCop the most? The spike in his hand.
Oh, that little knife thing that came out? Yeah, that
his
thing
knuckles flipped open
crazy.
And shit. That was fucking wild. Like, there were so many things that were just unexpected and weird that if you think about them, they're mildly upsetting. Like the fact that his gun is in his leg. Like
Yeah,
so
it
many
just
things
pops out.
so many things that tell you like, yeah, this dude, like you said, is a robot. Like he is not human. Like there's not much of him that is still human. And again, questions about what makes you a person, what makes a person a person. How much can you change and replace on a person before there's something else?
Yeah, what's that old like philosophical
The
problem?
ship of Theseus.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. If you replace every board, eventually, is it still the ship
Still
of
the ship.
Theseus?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's a little different when it's a person, but
Right.
you know, and when he has the helmet off in the original RoboCop, he's basically just a face on a robot. And the one thing I like, I will say, the one thing I liked about the remake was the sheer body horror of when they take him out of the robot suit.
Oh, and like how little of him is actually left.
Yeah, like he's just like a set of lungs, a spine, most of a head, and a hand. You know, connected by some cables and shit. And
Yeah, it's gross.
that looked really real. Like the CG there was the CG in this movie is not bad. Like I just want to say that. Like I said it, I mentioned it more than once, but it's not that bad. Like most of it's really good actually. It's just
not
too much. Yeah, it's just not interesting, and then there's too much. Just too much. It's not gritty enough, and it can't be. It's just a lukewarm, half-assed attempt to cash in on a property. And you can tell they had dreams of sequels, you know, and no, it wasn't going to happen. Total Recall is just, it's so boring. I can't even think of something.
Yeah, you know what's funny? It's like that movie tried to be gritty. In kind of in contrast to some of the over the top Technicolor of the original, and in its attempt to be gritty, it just took all the fun out. Everything's dark, everything's wet.
You know what it kind of looks like to me? Minority Report.
What, the remake?
Yeah.
But Minority Report worked, I think. That's a
yeah,
good movie.
I love that movie. It's Spielberg, man. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
That movie, and it was very prognosticating, man.
That's another dick book, man.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Another
guy
Tom,
was like
another Tom Cruise
Nostradamus.
hit. Another Tom Cruise moneymaker.
Yeah, but Total Recall, in its attempt to be taken seriously, took all the fun stuff. No Kawato, number one.
No Kawato.
That might be the most grievous sin, you know.
Yeah,
And then there was one thing that I thought, and you say you don't remember. You don't remember anything about Total Recall, right? There's two places on Earth that are like inhabited, I think. And there's like the United States, and then there's what they call the colony, which is essentially Australia. And
is that the setup? Okay.
Yeah, and there's this thing called the Fall. It's basically the world's largest and most awful subway, where like you can commute from your slum in the United States.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Your
Yeah,
job in the colony, which is Australia, by getting on the Fall, which shoots you right through the core of the Earth. And I remember that was the one thing I thought was kind of cool. Like as you pass through the core, you experience like this weird gravity shift, you know.
yeah.
And like everything flips upside down for a second, and you go from falling to skyrocketing upward, right? But then like you look at the set they built, you can only fit like 6 people in that car, and you have an entire country commuting to work with this thing. It's like, wait, how many of these things do they have? It made no sense. You'd never be able to move the amount of people necessary for that to be viable.
The idea of colonizing Mars is much more viable and interesting than that ridiculous shit. Like tunneling through the entire planet. Give me a fucking break, man.
To build a subway.
It makes no goddamn sense, and it's just goofy. It's so goofy, it's boring. Australia is a poor substitute for Mars. I'm sorry.
I would agree with that.
Why bother? You know, why bother if you're not going to do the Mars thing? And like you said, everything cool about it is when he gets to Mars, when he gets his ass to Mars.
Get your ass to Mars.
Is when it starts getting cool, man. Before that, it's just nonsense. Like nonsense action that needs to be done. It's set up stuff, you know? It's him
Oh man,
realizing how much trouble he's in.
the chase scene. How did I get here? You're in a Johnny cab.
Oh God damn!
Remember the cab driver?
Yeah, and the wet towel around his head too. That was always a striking image.
That was great.
But again, it's memorable. Like, it's goofy shit, but it's memorable. I don't remember any. I didn't remember that center of the earth nonsense until you brought it up.
Well, yeah. And then like Cohagen is, I forget.
It's just Walter White. He's just Walter White.
Yeah. Heisenberg running the
I don't know
Earth.
what he's selling. It's not air. I don't know what his. I don't know. That was a perfectly good.
I think they're trying to destroy the Fall.
Like,
Because like I remember
here's my
seeing,
idea. Here's my
like
question.
this propaganda on the wall, like the Fall enslaves us all. It said.
This is what I don't understand. If a movie is old enough that it needs to be remade, a good movie. It was a good movie, a successful movie, is outdated enough that it deserves to be remade. Why not remake it? Why make it so different?
As it was, you mean?
Yeah, like
Remake
like,
it as it was.
Yeah, like I understand. Like, you don't want it not shot for shot, but at least the same beats, at least the same story,
Same plot.
Yeah, like maybe a different ending. Sure, so you don't know exactly how it's going to end, but don't get too weird and goofy with a plot twist and shit unless it works.
Or unless it adds something.
You know, like we talked about this a while ago. The remake, you call it remake, reinterpretation.
Psycho.
No, the other way of The Invisible Man.
Oh yeah, that was great.
That is what you need to do. Think about a different way to tell the same story.
An angle.
You know? Yeah. Like, why make it again if you're not going to try a different angle? And just taking the same protagonist and marching him through a different set of circumstances is not a different angle. It's just shitty. It's just a shittier version of something that's already been made. Fuck you. You know, you don't get to remake Die Hard. You can't. You can't. Like, could you imagine that when they're going to do? They will do it eventually. They'll do it eventually. When Bruce Willis is dead, maybe they'll do it. But they're going to remake Die Hard one day, and it's going to be fucking terrible.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if they were going to remake Die Hard, they would have done it already.
I don't know. It's one of those Christmas movies now.
We agreed that like a lot these feel like cash grabs, right?
Sure.
And they made a bunch of Die Hards.
Yeah,
And
too
there
many.
hasn't been too many. Yeah, there hasn't been one in a while. I mean, I feel like it's if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now.
Maybe. I hope.
At least that's what I'm telling myself.
Yeah. Well, they're still cranking out fucking remakes and sequels, so don't worry.
Are there any other remakes that jump to mind that are like on the level of these two? Like because these are both just stinkers.
Oh God. All right, don't freak out.
What?
But I have just realized there is a movie in early production called McClane.
What?
It's listed on IMDb's list of upcoming remakes, sequels, reboots, and spin-offs. I am very upset right now.
Oh man!
It says the original story to the popular film franchise Die Hard. So,
what do you mean?
Please, maybe that just means it's like some nonsense being produced in Asia, considering that's barely a sentence. Oh God. Oh God.
Just from what you just read, it sounds like it might be a movie about McClane. Because like he's a cop when that movie starts, so maybe it's about him being a cop before Die Hard.
That's worse than anything.
Yeah, dude,
That's
I feel like
terrible.
I feel like you and I just spoke it into existence.
Oh God. Oh Christ, dude! Okay. I'm gonna, so people know this is the kind of shit that Hollywood is gonna be shoveling down your throat in the next couple of years. You're gonna get a. This is, I know people have been clamoring for Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law to make another Sherlock Holmes movie. So you're gonna get that now that they're
I
like
like
50
those,
years.
though.
That was like 30 years ago. They're old as shit now.
I like those movies.
We are getting a Tom Cruise sequel with for Live, Die, Repeat and Repeat.
It's in repeat.
I'm into that. 2025 is going to see, ready? The Passion of the Christ, Resurrection, Chapter
What?
1.
Wait, is that Mel Gibson?
Yep. A sequel to The Passion
Why
of the
not-
Christ that focuses on the events that occurred 3 days between the crucifixion and the resurrection when Jesus Christ descended to Abraham's bosom
So Easter?
to preach and resurrect Old Testament saints. We're just gonna
is it
skate
like-
on by that one.
Easter the movie?
Sure, with some extra shit apparently on top of it, and it seems like there's more than one chapter. Great.
Oh boy.
We're getting a reboot of Friday the 13th, 40 years after the original. Great.
Okay.
I don't know. I know they've been fighting about the rights to that for years and years. It finally got settled. I guess they're not wasting any time.
All right. Jason.
Maniac Cop.
Maniac.
Maniac Cop is getting a remake.
Oh,
Wow.
I feel that's a bad I feel like right now is a bad time to make movies about killer cops.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck tone that's going to be. That's going to be a tightrope walk, or it's just going to be real bad.
That's going to be bad.
Apparently, Masters of the Universe is coming in 2026.
I'll watch that. I don't care how bad it is. I'll watch it.
A young boy on Earth discovers a fabulous secret legacy as the prince of an alien planet and must recover a magic sword and return home to protect his kingdom.
Fuck yes.
That's the story there. They've got the Henry Cavill Highlander remake still slated. That's nice. That's not possible.
I'll
Django
watch that.
Lives. They're going to make a Django Lives.
Well, like Django Unchained?
It must not be the same cast. Avatar 3. RoboCop returns.
What?
Hold on. What the fuck?
Is Joel Kinnaman in it?
There's no cast. Oh God. There's something in the trivia. It has a director, Abe Forsyth. I don't know him. 3 writers. Michael Miner's one of them. The trivia section says this movie will be a direct sequel of RoboCop 1987 that ignores RoboCop 2 and RoboCop 3, as well as the remake of RoboCop in 2014.
So they're
doing the Halloween
skipping
thing.
everything and basically making RoboCop 2.
Yeah. All right. Another bit. This film is based on a story outline that Edward Neumeier and Michael Miner wrote years before as a sequel to RoboCop, but it was rejected because the studio wanted RoboCop 2 to enter production as fast as possible and didn't want to wait for the script to be finished. Neil Blomkamp was originally set to direct but backed out because he wanted to direct a horror movie first. Chris Evans and John Cena have both been rumored to be taking on the role of Alex Murphy.
Dude, you know what they should do?
What?
Like,
My God.
we've seen, hear me out. We've seen that they brought back Luke Skywalker, right? Young Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
It didn't look bad. It looked a little off, but it didn't look bad. I feel like if there's a character that is ripe to deep fake computer generate an actor's face into a new movie, it's RoboCop. You could get like the original Murphy because you got to put it on like a robo body anyway. You know?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like a guy. It doesn't necessarily have to be a guy in a suit, but like the whole thing's going to be heavily touched up anyway. Just put the original guy's face on the new RoboCop.
You'd only have to do like Peter Weller's like mouth for most of it.
Yeah.
That's all. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like if you could just figure out the mouth, that could
If you
work,
can just
right?
figure out the mouth, man, you got a RoboCop. That's what you
got.
got. You're set.
You got a RoboCop.
You got no more worries, man. You got no more. Have you been clamoring for a remake of Red Sonja? I know I have. We're getting one.
Do you really want me to answer that?
You like Red Sonja,
I
don't you?
fucking love Red Sonja. You know why? Dude,
Why?
we had it. We had it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And like I'd seen Conan like way too young. That movie's like too violent for how old I was when I saw it, but I loved it. And we also had like a taped copy of Red Sonja. Thought that movie was fucking dope.
It's not, though. Have you seen it since you were a child?
It's been a long time.
It's very bad. It's very, very, very bad.
Yeah, there's the kid. There's the little kung fu kid. Arnold plays like not Conan.
Not
but,
Conan
like,
because
really,
he was like contractually obligated to be in a third movie.
Really, he's just Conan by
He's
another
just
name.
Conan. He's just Conan.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll watch a Red Sonja remake.
all right, fair enough. Fair enough. Are
Who's
you going
in
to
it?
watch Nobody?
Nobody. All right, it'll never happen.
Red Sonja is being played by someone named Matilda Anna Ingrid Lutz, who should really rethink that stage name. We've got Gladiator 2. Are you going to go see that?
Oh man, is Russell Crowe in it?
No. It boasts, he's dead. It boasts a cast. You're going to laugh. Pedro Pascal. Denzel is in it.
What?
Joseph Quinn.
Who's
Connie
Joseph Quinn?
Nielsen. You know his face if you've seen it. And
Keep going.
I'm going. I'm not seeing anybody else that I really know. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Follows the synopsis, the brief synopsis says follows Lucius, the son of Maximus's love Lucilla, after Maximus's death. So the kid,
What?
the
The
kid
kid.
from Gladiator, yeah.
So I guess
I guess
is he
that's
played by
Pedro.
Joseph Quinn.
No, Joseph Quinn is like one of the few who actually has a character name. His name is Emperor Carcalla. He's the emperor.
He was the guy from Stranger Things.
Yeah. Pedro Pascal has no character name in this. Neither does Denzel. So I'm guessing Pedro is
The
Lucius.
Gladiator.
Ridley Scott, what are you doing, sir? What are you doing, man?
Wait, Ridley Scott's directing that?
Yeah, he's doing it. He's doing it. He's
No
doing
way.
this to us. Yeah. Do you remember Val Kilmer did a movie, The Saint, when we were young
Yeah, I saw The Saint.
with Elizabeth Shue?
Yeah.
They're taking another stab at that, apparently.
With Val Kilmer?
No, there's no cast yet. The Cannonball Run, because we need to revisit that.
Is that Burt Reynolds?
Yeah. Another Thomas Crown Affair movie, possibly with Michael B. Jordan. That'll be great.
Did you ever see the Thomas Crown Affair?
Yeah, I've seen both of them.
I've never seen the original. I saw the Pierce Brosnan one. That was a
Yeah,
great
Steve
movie.
McQueen was pretty good. They're both pretty good. I liked Pierce Brosnan did that when he was in the middle of his Bond movies. That's with Lethal
Rene
Weapon
Russo?
3. Yeah, Rene Russo. Right. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know what we're doing anymore with movies. I don't know why we're bothering. There's a Beverly Hills Cop sequel coming up. I'm getting upset. I don't think it's going to be any good. Oh, Jesus Christ.
What?
I hope a lot of these movies aren't really going to happen, but there's a remake of An American Werewolf in London listed on here, man.
Oh boy. We've discovered a whole new format.
What?
Yeah. I mean, like movie comes out when we're young. We see it. We love it.
Yeah.
Movie gets remade. We hate it, right?
Usually,
and
yeah.
Yeah. So now, like we're living through some of these remakes as they happen, and as we're recording this podcast, and like I think like really like they need to be seen. And honestly, I just want to watch you watch these movies.
You just want to watch me come close to having a heart attack out of anger, is what you want.
Well, no, I want to see it for my own entertainment, but I also feel like I should be there to talk you off the ledge, pull you back from the edge of the abyss. You know, like listen, man, it's okay.
Sorry, man. You don't have to watch it. You don't have to watch it, man.
I know in your own mind you do, which is why I feel like I need to be there for you.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. That's
but like
awesome.
this is a thing. Like we're gonna have to see these.
Everyone I hear the Crow remake is coming up real fast.
It sure is.
I really don't want to, man. I really don't want to. I don't want to do it.
And for the most, I'm with. I agree that we gotta watch that one. Normally, I'd say that looks dumb. I won't watch it. But that one, I love the original so much. Like my curiosity is going to be just too great. I'm not going to be able to ignore it. And
is it theater curiosity?
No, for the Crow remake.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Me neither. I can't, because I'll be so angry. I can't be in public, and it wouldn't be good for anyone.
Yeah. I also don't want to spend a dime on it.
Fuck no, dude. I really can't get behind any kind of remake. And I'll add to that sequels to properties that are older than like from the 90s or earlier. I'm done. I'm out. I'm out. Like I can't see them being good, man. I can't see them being good. I'm into the Highlander remake. You know why? That was a really low budget movie.
And it's also not tied to the 80s. It came out
not necessarily, no. Like
it doesn't rely on when it came out.
No, it certainly doesn't. It can be set anytime, honestly. And as the sequels in the show proved, it just jumps around in history. You can find all kinds of places for these stories to live. And I don't know, Henry Cavill's pretty fucking cool in these kind of roles. You know, everyone liked him in that Witcher thing. Not really my thing, but
The Witcher was the best part of that show because he read I read those books. Those books are great. And he left the show because they started straying too much from the source material, and he was a fan of the books, and he didn't want to keep, fucking with the story in a way that was disrespectful to the source material. And so, like, number one, he walked away from it because it was bad. And number two, I can respect the guy for sticking to his guns too, because he's like, you wanted to make this show. Why are you throwing the books out the window?
Well, he looks good on camera with a sword, so let's go.
He sure does.
Let's go, Connor McLeod. Maniac Cop again. I'll go see that. I'm into that. That's a really cult horror movie from 1988. Yeah, remake that. That could be really cool. It could suck, like every movie. It could really, really suck. But it could be fucking awesome. It could be fucking awesome. But I just can't get behind remaking movies that were great or seminal or landmarks, you know?
Yeah, you know what movie I'm really glad they remade?
What?
Was Dune.
Yeah, right?
Because the first Dune was weird as shit. It needed a remake, and they did one that was great. The Dune remake's amazing, but the '84 Dune was just bizarre. So in that way, yeah, it makes sense to remake that movie.
And there's been attempts at Stephen King remakes that were definitely worthwhile, but not all of them hit. But the It remake. I mean, you can call that a readaptation, a new adaptation, just like you can, say that for anything that starts as a novel. But it was a huge success, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Christine.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I'm excited for.
That's coming.
That was a cool story. That was an okay movie, and it's very, very dated. Yeah, remake that movie. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah. There's also a whole bunch of shit coming from the Dark Tower series from Stephen King. Apparently a show, and I think movies, maybe not. I don't know, but a lot they're doing stuff.
A show is the only way to make that. It's the only way you'll have enough time to tell that story.
7 gigantic books, man. Even if you trim it down to the essentials, you still need some time for all of it to make sense. You certainly can't cram it into an hour-and-a-half movie.
No.
All right, so if someone was coming in cold, say just a young whippersnapper, and they hadn't, Litland, they hadn't seen any of these fucking movies yet, would you even recommend that they see the remakes after they watch the originals of these two, RoboCop and Total Recall?
No.
Just stay away from them, right?
Dude, I don't think they add anything except that the only purpose they would serve is it would be like, do you want to be pissed off at how much they don't do what you want? That's the only reason to watch these is if you hear someone like us say like these are terrible and you want to know just how terrible. If that's the case, yeah, watch these movies, but they add nothing.
Or like contrast makes the original seem better.
I would argue maybe watch these first.
The remakes?
You know what I like to do sometimes?
Mm.
You ever hear like, oh, I saw this movie, but the book was better? I do this a lot. I'll see a movie, and then I'll read the book.
I've done that, yeah.
Because I do that almost exclusively, because then instead of being like, man, this book's amazing. This movie sucked. It's more like, this movie's okay. This movie's pretty good. And then you read the book, and you're like, God, this book's amazing. You go out on a high.
Yeah, I mean, if you like the story, but there's certain things about the movie maybe you didn't like, a lot of that goes away in the novel. And if it's a decent adaptation, they don't strip too much out of it.
So
every once in a while, though, you come across a movie that's a lot better than the book.
What? Like Silence of the Lambs?
We've
talked about that.
Yeah, we've talked about that. Another example was I always really like this weird 80s sort of werewolf, not really movie called Wolfen.
We've talked about Wolfen before.
I made the mistake of trying to read the book that was based on. It was real bad. It was really, really bad, and it was really it was an example of how Hollywood often takes properties that they just buy it for the concept, and then a real screenwriter just goes in and actually creates a story around the concept that they just bought.
Right.
The base, it's the setup. They buy the setup, and the rest of the book is dog shit. And then they got a screenwriter and gave him a little scaffolding that he just wrapped a good story around. You should see that. If you've never seen that, check that movie out. That's a great,
Wolfen.
Yeah, it's a great 1970s New York City movie too. Urban Decay.
That's on the super secret server.
It definitely is. It's a good one for around Halloween too.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. You're
gonna hate me.
What?
For this? You know what movie I like a lot better than the book? The Shining.
You like the movie, okay? Yeah,
I like the movie better than the book.
And you read it, right?
I have read it. Yeah. I couldn't make that claim if I hadn't read the book. Yeah,
I guess you have cliff notes. You're synopsize.
Yeah, but I'm not lazy.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I like the novel better. I do. I'm not a huge Stanley Kubrick fan. I don't like most of his. I've seen everything he's done. I just don't like most of it. I likes a lot of it, I guess. He's just I don't know, man.
He's what it's a word. He's an auteur.
He's an auteur. Yes, he's a cinematographer's filmmaker for sure. His movies look amazing. He's not much of a storyteller.
Every frame of painting.
I guess, man. I guess. There's a horrible documentary out there that explores all the symbolism in The Shining.
Oh, like what's the symbology there?
Oh my God. The leaps of logic that motherfucking thing takes. Astonishing.
Wait a minute. Which one are you talking about? Are you talking about the one that deals with all like the continuity mistakes?
No, man. This is more, it's all more about like the meaning of the kid's sweater that says NASA and then why they used Calumet baking soda in the background of that shot instead of some other brand. And like, Jesus Christ.
Dude, I saw one that calls out all these glaring continuity errors. And you hear about how meticulous the director Stanley Kubrick is, and you think, like, how could he have made so many continuity mistakes when he's so obsessive about the all those little details?
The secret code.
This posited that the continuity mistakes were a visual cue for when the real villain of the movie is having some sort of hallucination and imagining something. And it posited that the real person who goes nuts at the Overlook Hotel is, what's her name, Wendy?
The mom?
The mom.
Really?
Yeah. Wendy, darling, light of my life. Yeah, it says that, like, that's the only way to explain all those different things. And it goes really in depth, but it's almost like it goes on to say that, like, when you see Jack Nicholson being real crazy, that's like Wendy being paranoid and imagining that he's going crazy.
Or maybe Stan was doing a lot of cocaine.
Yeah, there's that too.